Well, good afternoon, everyone. How is everyone doing today on Transformational and Wonderful Wednesday? And again, it's another great day to be alive and another gift not only to receive, but to give as well. And yes, it is Conversation for Humanity, the video experience. And yes, we're going to have a great guest on tap today. I'm going to send him a message because he's actually in a different time zone than me. And I got to send him a message and say, hey, we are now live. So let me send him a message real quick. And so he'll be knowing that, saying that we are live. So just sent him a message. So we are going to have a great and engaging conversation. If you can believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, our guest has shared his story on Conversations for Humanity in the past. So when we bring him in, you're going to be probably not amazed, but kind of amazed because this guy has gone through a lot and everything like that. He actually looks at life happening for him versus to him. And he's an amazing guy. And when he shared his story originally, many weeks ago, it was just truly phenomenal. The outpouring of people that really was wanting to connect with him. And like I said, this guy was just truly amazing. And he's got a great story to tell. And I'm sure he wants to tell more of it because he reached out to me a few weeks ago. And he's like, Chris, I want to come back on the show. I'm like, okay, let's make that happen. So we're going to have our special guest right here, right now. And here he is, the great guy of the crazy fitness guy, Jimmy. Hello, Jimmy. How are you doing today? It's been a while, sir.
Yep, it has. Sorry about that. I would just get him some lunch real quick. I haven't eaten like all flipping well since the morning, but uh yeah, my day's been going woo-wee.
Yeah. So how things been going for you since the last time we spoke?
Let's just say it's been really busy.
Wow, wow. So what's been going on?
I've been doing a lot with I'm doing statistics for uh in college this semester, which has been quite annoying a little bit. Because me and math do not go together. Uh,
Yeah.
and then currently, I have a D in the class, um, just because, like I said, my math is not my strong suit. I would
Right.
say more of reading is my strong suit. Like I can literally skim a whole article and tell you the gist of the article.
Right.
Uh, I haven't come across many people who can do that, so I kind of feel like it's a skill. Uh, and then uh, I've been busy running my own crazy fitness guy, my own business. Uh, I just reached the uh, top 10 autism podcast on Good Pods just last month.
Yeah, and how well is your podcast being built out now? How many more people have now subscribed to it? How's that turned out for you from the podcasting space?
It's turning out really well. I had a celebrity on my podcast last year. I've also uh, I've gotten a lot of people who want to be a guest on the show. I'm almost booked up for the whole year. Uh, I've been yeah, I had some repeats who's coming back too, just because they have some more stuff that are going on they want to promote. And yeah, it's been taken off like huge.
Nice, nice. And then for people who don't know who you are, please introduce yourself and kind of tell people how me and you got connected, and we'll go right into the conversation. And we got Rachel here. Hello, Rachel. Glad that you're here today. So, Jimmy, over to you. Please introduce yourself and what led you to share your story on Conversation for Humanity.
So I'm a motivational speaker, autism advocate, author, and founder of crazyfitnessguy.com. Uh, I got to meet you. I think it was I think you reached out to me on LinkedIn, if I remember correctly,
Yeah.
and you invited me to the show, and I definitely so it's my I think my second time or third time around. I lost track, and uh, and I felt like I wanted to come back on because well, it is Autism Awareness Month, and I also just uh, and plus I also wanted to catch up with you.
Awesome, awesome. So if people don't really know what you do and everything like that, and I truly believe, Jimmy, the better question to ask is not what you do, is who are you? Can you tell people how you even got into the fitness industry to begin with? How did that turn out? And how did that start?
So I got uh, into into fitness because I was nearly obese for my age group back in middle school, which feels like a lifetime ago. And I I lost 30 pounds with P90X, which is a workout program, and I've been working it ever since. So 12 plus years, I guess you would say. And
Yeah.
the only time I ever stopped working out is when I'm bedridden and being sick and everything. I highly do not recommend working out being sick because I tried it once and it's like, oh yeah, I'll just sweat out my whatever I have. A, it's rude to do that, especially if you're in a gym or in a karate class. Don't do it. And two, if you try something like that, you'll just make yourself worse and be sick again for another 2 weeks because I've done that. I mean, that was like years ago when I did that. That was
Yeah.
stupid because I like, oh, I'm almost done being sick. Okay, I can go work out now. Tried it. I was sick for 2 more weeks. And it's like, what an idiot. It's
Yeah, I
like
know
what?
how
Not one of
that
my best ideas.
goes. No worries, no worries. So, Rachel, how you doing today, ma'am?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I had to kind of log in to StreamYard. Do you use this frequently for video calls?
Yep. So you're good to go. Glad that you're here.
Yeah, I made it in. I'm happy to be here and yeah.
Awesome, awesome. So how things been going for you, Rachel?
Oh, wonderful. Yeah, I spent a week at my family's in Connecticut. That really was lovely. They went to track the eclipse. So I got, Chris knows I live in Queens, New York City. I really feel like a new person after having all that time in the natural world. So I'm just working on planning more trips and surprisingly refreshing being in a setting like that. And yeah, so I just got back.
Well, that's awesome to hear. I know we have not talked in a while, but we definitely need to talk again. Rachel, like I said, I know you've been going bonkers on a lot of different things, and you've been really doing great work. But like I said, I really definitely can't wait to have that conversation with you. But we're glad that you're here today with our special guest, Jimmy. We greatly appreciate it. But Jimmy, I got to go back to you. Uh, since you've been in the health industry as long as you have, uh, what kind of led you down the road, Jimmy, to even create the crazy fitness guy? How did that even start?
Well, the reason I started it was because, uh, well, it first started as a kind of a hobby project to become a better writer, but then it kind of, it, well, when I got into college, to be, I had to take an English class, and then after the English class, I was like, how do I keep my writing skills at its peak level? So I started as a hobby, and then all of a sudden, and plus I was in the personal training part of my major, but then I jumped 5 different majors because me and math and science did not go together. So I decided what could be what's my calling, uh, what can I possibly do to continue in the fitness industry? So I turned everything into motivational content, and boom, motivational speaker, been featured on the New York City Times billboard, and Ticker News, and The Mighty, and Autism Parenting Magazine.
That is awesome to hear. Rachel, what's your take on that?
Well, I love writing. I have journals for 10 years being younger, and then started a blog. I did English teaching for a while, and I had a whole blog keeping up with it. So I'm happy to hear that that's how you got started practicing the writing. I just had a book themed wedding. I got married in October and we had like old books everywhere. So I'm happy to hear that. I'm trying to find reasons to write. And, I'm career searching. Chris knows that right now, but I've even been looking into like generative AI analysis. Like I'm a media analyst on the side. I have this part-time job, but there are careers in kind of editing, fact-checking text. So I edited my husband's master's essays type of person. I taught English. So anyway, I'm just happy to hear that's how, that's the way you got to build something for yourself through writing. I'm happy to hear that.
Thank you.
And when you really think about it, Jimmy and Rachel, there is a power in a story and everything. Because when people hear that story, where you've done things or you have this great idea, and I truly believe, Rachel and Jimmy, the power of what if is truly powerful in and of itself. When you just allow that to be, then you can take that idea, put it out to the world, and yes, you're not going to resonate with every single person on this planet. Point stipulated, get that. But there might be that one or two people that will resonate with what you not only stand for and believe in, but who you really are. Because when you really think about it, Jimmy and Rachel, who we are will have the natural byproduct of what we do. And then once we tap into that kind of dynamic and really take it for what it is versus what it's not, then we actually shift the paradigm of, like I said, of asking that question. Is like, what do you do? Well, I'm the crazy fitness guy, and this is what I do. Sometimes people don't resonate with that, but if they get to know who you are, that's a whole different conversation in and of itself, is it not, Jimmy?
I agree. Because, people want to buy from people, not buy from just a brand. Every brand
Yep.
who started had a story of some shape and some form, and here they are years later, they're still around.
So, Rachel, what's your take on that?
Well, I was going to ask if either of you had heard of the moth storytelling. I don't know how widespread they are. Give it a Google. It's just live storytelling. People sign up for they have different themes and just read a story on stage. It's pretty incredible. It's kind of like TEDx, but just much more personal. And I went right when I moved to New York, and it was just so inspiring. And I thought to take a Postmasters class. It was hard. Speaking in front of people is a different thing than just writing. So, but yeah, Chris, we've talked before about kind of value over like knowing about people versus experience. We spoke about that before. People can relate to that, and you can be taught anything, I believe, but not certain character traits such as compassion, understanding, genuine interest in people. You can't really teach those things, whereas when it comes to technical craft, etc., you can learn those things. So
absolutely, 110%, Rachel. And see, what I truly believe and what we truly believe here at Bring Humanity Together, it's about creating that next currency of humanity, which is rooted in value and not money, but bring that in balance to one another. Because granted, what we have kind of put it on that very high pedestal is that very money mindset. For whatever rhyme or reason that we've done that for humanity, I could fathom in my wildest dreams, and I just keep going back to it. Why have we given money such a high pedestal and a high bar standard that we gotta? It's almost like we're we're literally bowing down to money and saying that's literally everything to us, when technically it really isn't, and everything like that. Yeah, we have probably had money literally in one way, shape, matter, form since the dawn of time. We've done it to drachmas in Greece, and we've done it to the yen. We've done it through trading sheep cloth for cow's meat. I mean, we've done something to that effect for, like I said, since the beginning of time. But whenever it came to that place in space that we actually put that money to such a high level, that where people say, "Now I gotta have this. I gotta have this money. I gotta pay this bill." I get all that. I absolutely do, ladies and gentlemen. I do. But when we put it in context of how we really connect with people on a deep and meaningful human level, and maybe we kind of forego the money to a certain extent, but really get to know the people first. And I kid you not, I get this a lot on LinkedIn, and this what sits me like a ton of bricks. And I've got to go to both of you on this, but I'll go to Jimmy first. Jimmy, on LinkedIn, when someone sends you a message, do you want them to sell you what they are wanting to sell, or do you want them to get to know who you are first?
I like to get somebody to know who I am first. And here's why. I'll give you an example. And it might not even be the best example, uh, but here's an example. So I get so many Instagram messages a day. It's very, very annoying. And I know you said LinkedIn, but here's where I'm going to tie it in. So this person's like, "Hey, do you want to be on featured on the under the top 40 women entrepreneurs?" And it's like, "Do I look like a woman to you?" I was like, "I'm sorry." And it's like you kind of and it's like somebody did not do their research, and it's like obviously they're just trying to get me to pay something to be uh, featured somewhere, and I don't do pay to win or pay to write places. No. And like, if somebody's going to publish me, they're going to give it to me for a free spot because you want my cousin's in the publishing industry, and uh, and correct me if I'm wrong, but they she did say that it's the publisher's way uh, who comes to you, and if you like, let's say if you have a book, they buy, they basically pay you for, or say, hey, we want to publish this book for you. You get the royalties, etc. We do the work and everything, but there's no upfront cost to you, etc. So correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what she said to me. And so everybody who keeps on like trying to sell me on something like those annoying messages on Instagram or LinkedIn and say, "Hey, I can do market your create clips for you for to promote your content on social media." It's like, well, I have a tool that already does that for me, and I bought it, so I don't need your tool or services.
And Jimmy, I kid you not, I have gotten a lot of those kind of messages from people from LinkedIn. I can get you so many XX sales calls for XX and X. And I kid you not, the question that I lead with when they send me that message, and like I said, I want to go to Rachel on this here in just a second, is I come back and I say this exact thing. I was like, besides what you proposing here today, what sparked your interest into my LinkedIn profile, and why did you want to reach out? And I kid you not, a lot of people, they don't reply back. They don't even do anything.
Robot.
And that just gets me, Jimmy and Rachel and David. I would love for you to join in the conversation. Glad that you're here. Just sent you the link. We would love to hear from you today. So please click that link, and we would love to have you on. But Rachel, why is it, especially on the platform that is LinkedIn, we reach out to connect with people, but we actually sell them first versus actually get to know them? Why do you think that occurs?
Well, the first thing I wanted to comment was that my first response to those people is always, "Oh, how did you find me?" And with the ones that do respond, it's usually some generic, "Oh, our recruiter," something, right? So that's my little like screener And then you'll get the few which are like, oh, a mutual connection. And then I might give them the time, but that doesn't happen often, right? It's usually brand new strangers. So that's usually my first. It's not rude. It's just, oh, tell me how you found me. Same thing like what you just said. So, yeah. I think that, on LinkedIn, I will say some of these, they look like AI accounts,
Yeah.
generic messages. We're going to be dealing with a lot more of that, as time goes on and just having to discern. So yeah, that's just my screener, and it really clears out a lot of them. So I think if it's not bots, people just don't have time to be starting conversation. They're trying to make sales, and so they jump to it, and it's just not personal enough, so to speak.
Yeah,
But see,
I just want to say
but
one more.
go ahead, Jimmy.
I just want to say something real quick on that. Like one of my tools that I have that's basically has a calendar tool along with it. It does have something along those lines for LinkedIn to reach out to people. I have never used that feature yet, but I was like, I don't think I want to use that feature. And then it's like, and if there's a like, and if I do ever use something like that, I would like hopefully that it's all personalized because I can't stand just uh kind of the whole AI kind of being shoved down everybody's throats. Like, I don't mind if it's like a tool that I bought has AI in it, but like, why does Facebook and Instagram now need AI in direct messages? I'm sorry, and it's like, no, Facebook and Instagram like owned by the same company. They're gonna do a crappy job with it. $5. Bet you it's gonna go down in in one day.
Right, right. And I like I said, I kid you not, I get a lot of these messages from people all around the world, and they want to sell their wares to me or say that they can generate this and do that and that kind of thing. And for a lot of you out there, that may work for you, and that's okay. I have no problem with that. But see, I truly believe that the best sale that we could ever do in business or even in life itself, ladies and gentlemen, is the one we never have to do. And I truly believe when you do it from that place of getting to know people, of who they are on a deep and meaningful human level, everything else has that natural byproduct effect. If there's a sale to be made, then so be it. That sale will be there. It's not a matter of if, it's only a matter of when, how that turns out to be. But then again, the best sale that you can, like I said, could ever do is the one you never have to do, but you do it from a place of maybe of a benefit. And see, John C. Maxwell does say that in his great book, The 21 Neutral Laws of Leadership. Because again, leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. It's not a title, it's not a rank, it's not even a position. It's influence. And how we show up to that influence will dictate which way people will go. So when you really think about it from a sales perspective, I want to lead with my influence to end up creating a benefit that's not only going to benefit Jimmy or benefit Rachel or even benefit David, but I want it to actually maybe more importantly, really benefit the people there after them to such a degree that, again, I'm not making it about me, I'm making it about them. Because, again, but the very act of giving is the very act of receiving, that when we do make that sale, they're going to actually go to bat for whatever company that you work in whatever dynamic that is, that they will be that advocate or that fan or whatever that, how you want to word it, that they will do that literally vicariously what you've provided to them to such a degree. Because we talk by nature, I kid you not, Jimmy, and I know you just know this too as well, Rachel. We tell the great things of what's happened, whether we go say a great movie, we won the lottery, or whatever the case may be. We tell the great positive stuff. But then again, we also tell the great negative stuff too as well, that we say, don't go to this gym, don't go to this health guy, don't go to this restaurant because it's not really great. But Jimmy and Rachel, like I said, I want to go to you first, Jimmy, on this. if we are wanting to get to know people and provide something that's going to create impact for them, create awareness about something that we believe in, and get them on board from a simple buy-in kind of dynamic, how would you approach it, especially being in the realm of health and wellness? How has been your approach to really approach people to say health and wellness is a big thing, but this is the way I approach it. How can you benefit of what I'm presenting to you from Jimmy, the crazy fitness guy? How would that look?
So basically, what I do from my business, uh, like I make everything. I try to be 100% transparent as possible. I don't put any gimmicks. Uh, like, for instance, uh, when I'm a guest appearance on some people's podcasts or live streams, sometimes when filling out forms, I get put on mailing lists that I like mailing lists that I never asked to subscribe to, and so uh, like I've been thinking of ways how I can grow my subscriber list without pushing my guest to be on my. Or let me rephrase that. Like I'm not trying to shove anything down people's throats. I so like what I've been doing for my upcoming guests. They fill out a form. I say right in the form is to say, hey, by filling out this form, you subscribe to my newsletter, etc. You can unsubscribe at any time. I I also been making a community where people can interact with me.
Mm-hmm.
My community used to be on Facebook, but since Facebook has been removing third-party tool access and making it much more complicated for me to interact and post. And I mean, I'm not posting like spammy content, but I like to post from my one central app that I paid a lifetime membership for versus having to go right into the Facebook app, press another button. So I'm pressing like 3 different buttons to get to where I want to go post something. So that'd be around you. Like 4 different uh, uh, clicks or buttons or whatever you want to call in the Facebook app. So I'm just so I'm trying to make myself more available to people. Like I even put a live chat feature on my website,
Nice.
and I do say is like, hey, if I don't answer right away, it will take me 24 to 72 hours. And the reason why I say that, I'm only one person. There's no team of people behind my brand.
Right.
If I didn't have this image right now, I'd be you will see my bed and everything, but I'm on a more professional background. But just saying, there's no, I don't have a storefront. It's just me behind my brand. There's some days I'm very active on social media, and there's some days I'm very not. I mean, I have scheduled posts sent out ahead of time, etc. But then, but it's not always just. But you can tell when it's like me interacting with you on social media. Some days I'm very active, some days I'm not very active. Uh, I admit that this semester's been less than active here and there because of math, but I'm just trying to keep everything real. Like I show the good, I show the bad, and I show what's in between. I like to keep everything real. I don't like the fake accounts and say, "Hey, we're so great. We're on. I'm making hundred millions of dollars." And it's like, I'm supposed to take your word for that. Do you want any? Do you want? And like, and some of these people, not to name anything, anybody specific, but like for some podcasters who toot their own horn and everything, they sometimes they don't show what they don't really show. Um, they basically don't show any proof of what they're doing. Show proof of, hey, we got to this locate. Let's just say that they don't show proof that they got into this top level. Like if you go into listen notes uh, uh, on their website, you can see where their podcast is ranked. Like overall, like this is listened to in the top 25% or top 10%, etc., etc. But I came across to some people where they're like not even where they say that they were. It's like, what? You're lying to me.
And Jimmy, I'm actually showing the website now for your website, and I want people to check it out and everything. So please click the link that I'm going to share with everybody. But Rachel, I want to get your thoughts right now. What say you, ma'am?
Okay, I've been thinking because as Jimmy was talking, I looked at the website too, and I think it's great because there is a crowded space of fitness people, but he has got this angle with autism. I like it. It's going to pull in people more organically. It's something that like makes you stand out. So I think that's great. Um,
Thank you.
yeah, and I'm not kind of a big business owner. Chris knows that I just tried to launch an alternative media app with my boss, and it was hard. The social media and getting the buy-in, so to speak. We were struggling to get downloads. And I just have a lot of respect for people who start at an Instagram, etc. And I don't know if you noticed, Jimmy, the whole algorithm changed to show reels. That was exactly when I had opened a baby Instagram account to post pictures of the cards, of these beautiful fat cards we take from media. And they basically, the algorithm worked against us. It was so hard. It was so hard. Anyway, so my perspective is it's hard we were kind of moving against the grain, no mainstream media, no algorithms. And I just noticed how we were a little ahead of the game, so to speak. So it was a bit of a confidence hit. I think people really needed this. We were like an Apple News, but with all alternative news. I was like a curator going through all of these sites, seeing, what would be reliable. And it wasn't, maybe it was just too ahead of the game. So anyway, this just happened. It ended in December and I learned a lot from it. But again, just to end, I have a lot of respect for people who, both of you, keeping up the social media game. I mean, it's hard. It's hard to start. It's hard to get to the level after that. And just so respect to both of you. It's tough to get your point across without being too in people's face, just like we're all talking about, right? So pitching your product without seeming like a salesperson, it's tough, right? Truly. Is my
I
post
hate
too
the
long? Is it too
algorithms.
short? And then overthinking things. So anyway, power to you guys. If you want to look it up, it's DemCon. I think I shared it in the last we have an Instagram. I think it's DemCon_ mobile app. Anyway, so I did the Instagram and I learned all about SEO and it just wasn't enough, but I learned so much. So I'm hoping whatever my next venture is, I have some more context of what it takes to launch something. So that's it.
And Rachel, this just hit me like a ton of bricks, and I got to ask you this because it just really hit me hard. Let me ask you, Rachel, when we present our goods and services to the world and whoever that might cater to, because again, we're not going to be everyone's cup of tea, but is it maybe that third person that's listening or watching whatever content that you're putting out there or providing a good and services out there, are those the ones that you're really wanting to really bring in? Because again, like I said, you're not going to be everyone's cup of tea and no one's going to really enjoy all your services. But are those the ones you really want to capture, is find those people who don't even know who you are, but they find you by, like today, Jimmy's on Conversations for Humanity and everything like that. Are those the things that really moves a business forward because you're focusing on those very people?
I'm sorry, was that a specific question?
Is it that third person that actually can move a business forward, not for the people who may not buy your product or buy your services, but the people you don't even know that they're there, but they see, like with you and Jimmy on the call today, it might just ring true with them when they hear about who you are.
Yeah.
So you're actually playing to those very people.
Yes, as opposed to cold reaching out and searching for those people. I think our app was very niche in terms of the type of people who would have liked it. So I was really trying to join some of these webinars around the time just to talk, because you're right. You never know who a person in the group will be who knows something, and then someone else. And that's only done by meeting people and putting yourself out there and joining webinars and hearing other people speak and looking up their website. So I just appreciate you, Chris. You bring a lot of cool people together so far from what I've seen anyway.
And see, I truly believe, like I said, it is those very people that we should be really understanding and recognizing and focusing on, because again, they may determine the direction that we go, if we pivot, if we create more opportunities or create more services or whatever that might be. But let me ask you this, Jimmy, because that's also going to tie into what I just asked Rachel. Is snapshots and sound bites also a great way to give people the kind of down low, so to speak, or the very simplicity of who you are? Is those things really important when it comes to that place that you're wanting to put out that product or you put out that website? Does those snapshots and soundbite really help a business move forward?
I'm just thinking. I would say a little bit yes or no. I say yes because then people know what you do, what are you doing, what your business is all about. But then I would say it doesn't sometimes as well, because I kind of say it's a double-edged sword, because
Mm-hmm.
you don't always want to be in somebody's face. You also don't want to become across that you're looking for the word, a show off. And
Right.
because like, oh look, I have all this cool stuff and whatnot. It's like, it's not about the cool stuff. I'm just fine. Uh, like when I'm consistently posting, I have a scheduled out, and then I also have basically I have stuff scheduled out ahead of time, and some people, and and like onto what you asked Rachel, like one thing I've been doing to help promote my brand as well as myself, it's not just about my content. I'm sharing other people's content, and with the hopes that they notice.
Yeah.
And then there's like, hey, I want to reshare this person's content because they reshared mine.
Yep.
It's kind of like the saying, one hand washes the other. And uh, so it's not just my content. There's a mix of my content in with those people's content, but
Right.
I'm sharing those content because, like, hey, I came across this article. I'm going to share it with my followers because I like this person's content. It's not about
Well,
me.
because it says something about you that you sent that at that time. It's almost like giving a little piece of yourself. Like, here's what I'm learning, type of
Yep.
thing. Yeah. I'm a media person, right? So I thought for a while about designing my own email feed with all of this alternative media, and that's really shouting at other people. But it does say something about me, right? Just like it does for you. Here's something I'm interested in. And that goes back to Chris. What are your interests? Who are you? Instead of saying, here's my product, here's something that interests me. Or if you talk to someone and you remember what they said, send them something that reminds you of them, shows you were listening.
Absolutely. And when you really think about it, Rachel and Jimmy, snapshots and sound bites are going to be a big component of being a part of that, not only that brand that you present, whether it be yourself first and foremost, because the one brand that you start off with is yourself in and of itself, but also for those people that you work with, whether it be a major Fortune 500 company or small mom and pops or whatever that might be, because that's a brand too as well. So and then at that point representing two different brands in the same context. Or again, like you said before, Jimmy, about creating that sense of collaboration when you do put something up from somebody else. And to Rachel's point, that you're saying, hey, this is what I learned from Rachel today. And this is what she shared with me in her great new article. Or this is what I learned from Jimmy in his new health and wellness newsletter about how you can be better fit, not only from a place of doing shakes and meditation, but maybe more so in these kind of things. And sometimes, Rachel and Jimmy, I kid you not, the more that we actually share things from other people who may not even be in the same industry as us or even in the same space of us, but we get to see something that really catches our eye, that really kind of makes us go, remember that song back in the 80s from CNC Music Factory, things that make you go, it makes you think. Those are the kind of things I truly believe it's going to be a great gift, not only for us as entrepreneurs, but also it's going to be a great thing for the people that we want to be able to help or to serve or to impact and maybe change their trajectory, not only in their business, not only in their life, but also maybe in their brand, whatever that might be. Because if you, again, can be able to create a platform in a space that you go into the power of what if. Hey, Jimmy, hey, Rachel, what if we was to do this? And you dive deep into that and make it maybe surprisingly simple for people, and then people don't have to overthink it, and it just shows up to them, then that's how the motor starts to run. That's how you create momentum. That's how you can start a movement when you just let that be. Go ahead, Rachel.
Part of the app was I would read an excellent article and recognize that people would not read the entire thing. And our Instagram was I was taking out good facts and quotes, putting on a beautiful picture and putting it in our revolving facts. And like, remember I said it's ahead of the times.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a really cool part when I realized people wouldn't read the whole thing. So because the Instagram is still there just to show you. Yeah, but I realized that if those are rotating, someone could read it at the right time. These were really intriguing segments of quotes about every genre of life, the environment. I read really good articles, but I know people
Right.
won't. I get, I don't want to be dismayed sending an article to someone I know they won't read the whole thing. So just like you said, the snippets, that's what I was trying to do on the social media was post these beautiful cards. And again, I was battling against the elements of the reels. We were just doing pictures, not reels, but that was kind of part of the point of the platform. Fact cards, quote cards, definitions. We would get, yep.
Love it, Rachel. What say you, Jimmy?
I just want to say, uh, I read an article about this news company app. It was, and I don't remember the name off the top of my head, and I apologize. And they're no longer around. Oh, well, let me rephrase that. They're around, but they're barely. Let's just make it by and everything.
I
It's
could try
not.
to guess. Give me a hint.
Well, there's this app. It's basically it uses AI news app, and Yahoo just bought it. But the point being of me sharing this is that people weren't using it. I mean, there were some people, but it wasn't enough to sustain to beat the other players, etc., like Google News and
Oh
Apple.
yes, we were battling them.
And but my point being is that these guys who made the app, they were scraping by, but then they got an offer from Yahoo News to buy them and put their AI algorithm and stuff to recommend helpful content in their own news platform to go against uh, Google, Apple, and whoever else. And
Yeah,
so,
one of the things my boss was doing was getting patents on certain steps of our process so that they couldn't copy. So what Google and Apple do is they'll follow along the chain of code until there's like a stopping point. So he was basically trying to protect it. But again, we almost made it. He's still got all this IP. I think I'm the only one with the equity. I'm hoping in about a year and a half get a reward for this. But anyway, yeah. Thanks for sharing. It was hard, telling the Apple store that we want to get in, but we don't we're a no algorithm, no mainstream media. They were probably like, ha, Anyway.
And I love where this conversation is going, Mackenzie and Jimmy, because when we are just willing to show up, and I truly believe that matters, and we're willing to really, again, listen to one another, learn from one another, and then grow and thrive in that very now moment or moments, or however that may play out for each and every single one of us, by us just showing up and saying yes to what's being received and saying yes to what's being presented from a place of giving, then when we just let that be, the next thing you know, it really creates that opportunity not only to grow and thrive, but then again, it is going to be that next person or people or even company or maybe even a community, you never know, that does catch a glimpse of who we are and then says, hey, Rachel, I got to know more about DemCon. How can I know more about that? And then next thing you know, when you put that in context with the crazy fitness guy, then they're going to say, wait a minute, how those two guys meet? Well, here you go, Conversations for Humanity. And then that can grow and thrive because not only do you allow it to occur, but you can actually see the benefits thereof, because what's the one thing that interconnects us all, which is our very humanity, is it not? And who can say no to leadership? Who can say no to human development? Who can say no to health and wellness? Because that's a big thing in and of itself. But also, who can say no to family, community, and strengths and values, which we all hold dear in one way, shape, matter, or form in our hearts. But when we do that in a way, then again, it's not about the sell, but it's about the connection. Then I truly believe the paradigm will shift, Rachel and Jimmy, in such a way that we're more of a one of people who really want to collaborate and connect versus to sell just to sell and not necessarily for a mutual benefited kind of gain. So, Jimmy, do you believe humanity is on that trajectory, like I believe and what we believe here at Bring Humanity Together, that tide is turning, that we're going from that kind of selling kind of dynamic into that collaborative dynamic to be maybe even a part of something bigger than of ourselves?
Yes, I agree. I agree because it's a lot about connections, especially because this Saturday I'm actually going to an event that I got a table at. It's my first event with a table. And for those who don't know about tables for events and everything, they can range from anywhere from a couple $100 to a couple $1,000, depending on the table size, chairs, etc. And because I know the person, and I mean a person. My colleague knows the person, so she got me a table, and so it was cool because I was like, wow, you know, and like if I have get my all act together, I mean not my act, but I bring everything. It could be a very very good event for Crazy Fitness Guy. Get more people for the autism community, supporting, showing up, sharing my story, sharing Crazy Fitness Guy's story. Like literally, I last Friday I was just celebrating Crazy Fitness Guy's 7th birthday. I wouldn't be anywhere right there without my supporters and whatnot. So yeah, I think collaboration is key to pretty much everything.
Go ahead, Rachel.
I'm sorry if I'm losing track of the specific question, but all I was thinking about was the one kind of Google Hangout call I did with you with the team. and how inspiring they were. The vibe was, what are you learning right now? I'm learning this. Oh, well, I just met this person. It was so inspiring, Chris. It wasn't that many people, and it wasn't that long. And one of them, I shared my story. I forget her name. Pardon me. She said, "Oh, I have some ideas for you." So it was this cool environment of going off in our private paths, coming together, sharing, what you've learned in the time since you last spoke, and like seeing what people think about it, and then kind of parting ways again. So it's this combination of entrepreneurs, but in this group that can help you reflect. I just thought that was really inspiring. So I just wanted to share that.
Awesome, Rachel. And I've already shared out the DEMCOM website for everyone to get connected to that and connect to you too as well. And
Right.
Rachel,
I built almost that whole thing. I knew nothing about websites. They gave like the skeleton of, what was it, WordPress Divi, and I learned everything on my own. But you can see there some of the revolving screenshots are these beautiful cards we make, right? Segments, like hints. And the cool thing is we would always have the link to the full content. So that's another thing we cared a lot about, source and context. People don't care where they're getting information from. So, we would have these like really impactful segments, and then you could look at where the photo source is, where the original. So that's also something I think we're moving towards, more accountability in media. I think I told you, Chris, right now at Adfontes, that's my part-time job, we are training their AI model. So reading my notes, we rate for reliability and bias. It's quite cool, actually. And then we're also learning how to find AI, like mark something as an AI site. So anyway, not sure why I went off on that tangent. But anyway, that's the site you can kind of like see a little more about, just context what I was saying. So it was a wonderful experience with this guy trying to launch this thought leader type of platform, and I'm grateful. I would have been more grateful if it worked out, but anyway, yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to say something like, yeah, uh, I took a look at the app. It's a shame that it didn't make it because I would actually read something along those lines because, to be honest, and this might start a debate, but I don't like Google News, and there's a reason why I don't like Google News is because they have this For You tab, and for the most part, that they do give me what I want to read. But then at the very top, and I've reported this to Google like many times, it's like For You should be only what I'm interested in. But they put in the very top news headline story of what's trending, and it's like that should be in the news section and not under For Me because I don't give a rat's ass about the news. And so I literally put them every single time. It's like don't care, don't care, don't care, and they still don't listen. And it's like so much for AI algorithm that you guys stink at.
Yeah. And it's actually not fully over the app. I mean, as I said, I can't say much, the NDA, but he's got a lot of IP still. So I think at some point he will at least license a lot of the concepts we have, the timeline, all these things. I'm hoping that there will be some form of momentum with it, or he could come back to it when there's more traction and he gains some of his money back. So it's not gone. That's why the website's still up.
Well, is there a way to follow along with it? Because I'd be kind of curious to see where it goes. Because I like to be honest. I just took a look at it while you and Chris were talking, and I was like, I would love something that I could tailor just specifically for me. If I don't want politics, I don't want politics. I want
Mm-hmm.
something tailored to
It goes by
my interest in
category.
entertainment or this and that. And
Yeah,
it's like I don't want crap politics. I hate
it goes by
politics.
category. So we were trying to find leaders in each category. We had environment, education. I'm just listing them down. Economy. We had addiction, health, physical health, mental health. And we were in the process of trying to gather experts. We had a veteran on our team in Wales. This is a British team, my boss. And we were slowly, because we're not journalists, we wanted researchers. with an expertise in certain fields. And again, we kind of almost got there. So I don't know how to get you to follow it. We've really, I don't know if you see the top of the website, we're closed. But clearly, my boss is kind of still showing people. I've gotten some of the emails about SEO, so that means there have been clicks on it. So, yeah.
I just bookmarked it in my bookmarks so I can come back to it, because
Yeah,
if
I
it,
appreciate that.
if it goes somewhere, I would use it, because and plus, Google News drains my phone battery like 12 times the normal battery draining app, and Google's like, "Oh, we're very fast and everything." It's like, on your own Google Pixel phone is like draining like crazy, but you guys don't seem to figure that one out. And it's like, and you guys are supposed to know everything.
Yeah.
And I love this conversation even more and more. When we're going deeper into it, it just opened up so many doors. It's not even funny, but I want to go to both of you on something that really, really, really just hits me in the heart each and every single time I get on these calls. Uh, if we're wanting to build that community that's about collaboration and not so much about the money, but really, again, creating that balance of money and creating impact, I truly believe the impact is far more significant than the money end of it. Because, again, I truly believe in this, Rachel and Jimmy, that the more money that I can bring in, whether to be in an organization or to myself or to my wife or whatever that might be, it creates more of an opportunity and pathway to not only give out and to be giving to humanity to a certain extent, but really maybe by giving that out there, again, we just recognize this money is another form of energy and tool that we use to get the things that we need in our life. So when it comes to collaboration, and I'll start with the conversation you on this, Rachel. When you're in a place of collaboration, Rachel, is it a is it about the money for you, or is it truly about how you can not only connect but really impact when you connect with those people on that deep and meaningful human level from a point of collaboration?
Um, well, I live in New York City. I have big rent, but I may have mentioned this on a prior call. I I am expecting that over these next 5 years, there will be much more of an emphasis on like a value based system. And that was one of the calls we had before. Remember, Chris? So it will turn into a community of, oh, I can do the woodworking and help in the forest, deforestation or whatever. And I think that if we don't practice craft and find out what we love, we may not be as valuable when, I'll be honest, I think paper money these next few years, I think we'll be shocked to see what happens. And I think it will turn into what you can contribute in the community. So I don't want people to be overwhelmed when that happens. So we should be connecting, gathering our arsenal of people. Didn't I say that to you, Chris, before too? I'm
Yeah.
like a collector of people. Like I have this document. I realized I had these amazing phone calls now at 34, people I haven't spoken to. And I started just writing it down.
So what say you, Jimmy, when it comes to collaboration? Are you in for it, the money dynamic, or you're wanting to bring the balance into it as well, and really create that environment and really maybe focus on the impact that again will translate into that revenue? What say you?
I say a mix of both, and not saying like I'm a greedy tool or anything, but obviously, unfortunately, money. I mean, unfortunately, everything costs money. So, like websites cost money. I'm like, yes, there's free platforms, um, but if you want uh, a platform that doesn't have uh, the company's own ads on it, like WordPress.com, for instance, like at the bottom it says powered by WordPress.com, etc., or their own ads where you can't put ads on your website to make some money.
Right.
And so basically, I would say a balance, just because one, I need money to be able to live, to buy clothes, buy
That's how it is
food,
now, anyway.
etc. But then I also need to pay bills from my business because like just because the website is free for users, someone's always paying for something on the back end. Like, somebody at Google when they first started had to pay it out of their own pocket, etc. So it's so I say I would be in the middle of it's important to have money. It's also important to give back as well. So I can't say I'm like, yes, give everything away for free because you just can't do that.
Yeah, yeah. And see, I love your point, Jimmy, that you said it's both. And here's why I believe it is both. But see, I truly believe impact is far more significant than the money dynamic. And here's why. When we focus about the money and we do it because of the money, it's always going to be about the money and everything like that. And see, I've already shared with our team here at Bringing Humanity Together, we shouldn't be focused on the money because we know the money will come. It's not a matter of if, it's only going to be a matter of when and how that plays out. But when we do it from a place of impact and we do it from a place of really finding out the needs and the direction of where an organization wants to go or where a individual wants to go or whatever that might be, when you again make it about them and not about you, and you put it maybe on their timetable, not on yours, that really flips the script. I truly believe, Jimmy and Rachel, to such an extent, when we do create that impact for that company or that mom and pops or that news of the day and everything like that, and we give people what they not only are asking for, but also giving something that they didn't even think it was even possible to do or didn't even see coming. And again, that's where the power of what if comes into play, because then when they see the impossible become possible and see how things can be so surprisingly simple also in context, then maybe they can end up saying, wait a minute, Rachel's got a good point here with this new story. Great thing. Love it. Rachel, let's dive deeper into this. Jimmy, you have great points on the health and wellness when it comes to doing it from a place of X, Y, and Z or whatever. Let's go more deeper into that. And when you do it from, like I said, that simplicity state, that where people, of course, are going to ask questions, even though you put things out there for some people to really get it, and sometimes they still don't, and that's okay for whatever rhyme or reason that shows up to them that in that way. But when they get to those great questions to be asked, and when you just take it for what it is, then maybe then the conversation turns into again the power of what if. What if we was to do this? What if we was to be able to do that? I could see this, and see it when you do it from that kind of framework and paradigm of thought. Not only is that idea powerful, which an idea is powerful by very nature in and of itself, but that idea carries more weight and more significance because then again, when you pass it around to people who see what you see or even believe. And of course, you don't coerce it out of them, you don't contrive it, you don't manipulate it or even control it to a certain extent, but you just show it to them for what it is. And then, same thing in turn with you when they show you that great idea and you just, again, just take it for what it is and you see the power of positivity and the very power of possibility into it, then it literally changes the way not only how we lead in our businesses today, not only how we lead in our own communities and families, but also how we even create not only a better buy-in on everything that we do, but keep that surprisingly simple. Rachel, what say you?
Keeping it simple. As you were talking, I was thinking about what it was like to try to explain and show this prototype of the app to people, but explain it simply. And Jimmy, I don't know if you looked at the website. There's a lot of different areas in it. a lot of different menus and functions, and I worked hard on like the quick pitch, different quick pitches, and it was tough to try to summarize all the different parts of it. And I wonder if we suffered from how broad it was. But my boss's idea was to have that relate to different people. We had the definitions, more educational aspect, and the politics. I filled all the politician profiles, but maybe it needed to be a more simple concept. So I was just thinking about that as you were talking in terms of the quick pitch. But also, unfortunately, with Instagram, I just wasn't ready to do the reels because I know it could have skyrocketed us. And it was tough for me to learn. I'm a mid-age millennial, so I'm not Gen Z, you know. So anyway, that's kind of reminding me to get back to it as I create more of my own personal brand. So I'm looking at what it was like to try to pitch this project I was working on, as opposed to how I'm doing that for myself now. So I appreciate your emphasis on the simplicity. I've been working on short sentences about myself, buzz ideas, depending on who I meet. So you just kind of reminded me about this. I appreciate that, because I'm truly thinking about my own brand now, which is complicated, right? It's not for work or someone else. So yeah, I appreciate the theme here. It's kind of getting my mind in the right along the right direction.
And Rachel, I can't wait till I speak to you again. I love this. Great thought there, and I love that. Jimmy, what say you?
Can you repeat the question real quick?
Well, Jimmy, do you believe that, like I said, when we create that environment that where it's not only simple to understand, but also we do it from a place that we connect with them on that deep and meaningful human level? Do we do that in a way that, again, we create that balance? I mean, it's the way you approach Crazy Fitness Guy to a large extent to really showcase what you want to offer the world, not because of what you do, but this is your mission, your passion, your purpose, your calling, and you want to do it from a place not only of simplicity, but that simplicity will turn into impact when people really, again, see what you really are wanting to do for, whether it be an individual, whether it be for a company. Is that the way you really do out your brand each and every single day?
Yeah, like I'll give you an example on that. So a while back ago, I had this subscription for this one product called a Triple Crazy. I wasn't really 100% on board with it. Didn't like it. It wasn't necessarily my idea. I gave you the background of it. I was partnered with this company that was supposed to help me gain more traction, gave me some more subscribers. They were going to give me some tips and tricks on how to market. They gave me none of that. And their idea was to bundle my podcast, my 1 minute blog posts that I turned into little videos, etc. People are gonna listen and read along with it, and they were gonna. It was like my premium podcast, my blog posts, and videos all in one place. And I said, "You think somebody would pay for that?" And they said, like, "Yes, they would." And I was like thinking to myself, there's so much technology these days. There's extensions that if somebody didn't want to read a whole article, they can get a brief overview of what that article was. Then there's even if you put it in a ChatGPT, it will say, "Here, summarize this article." It will summarize the main points of this article, and so I was like thinking, it's like, no one would pay for this service because there's so many tools that can do what I was doing. And so I was like, I'm going to throw it away. And I left the partnership with the company, didn't have anything in writing. I mean, I still have my account and everything, but I mean, I think I got them to delete it too. But uh, I cut ties with them, and I was like, I wasn't even on board with the service. I didn't like I just didn't like it, and they always kept on changing the login links, and it's like, why do you keep changing that? And so I just left, and I got rid of it, and it took me a few months. I finally got rid of it this month. It was in a few of my newsletters when I was sending them out, but that was just because I didn't get time to remove it. So I finally removed all of that. So I do think of all my readers before I create anything. I was like, would somebody buy this, or would somebody support this, or somebody would read this? Because if it's not, it's again scraped and trashed. Because if it doesn't have value, like, and I'll give you another example real quick. So uh, every time when I have a guest on my show, I make sure I do research about the person. Hey, do I like this person on my show? Do they add value? How can they relate health and wellness to the main topic? If they can't incorporate health and wellness to the main topic, like, hey, yeah, I work out for my mental health as an entrepreneur or some sort along those lines. I'm being vague about it at the moment, just as a sharing example. Like, I was like, oh yeah, you know what? I don't need the. I want to benefit, provide value to my readers, uh, value to my community. I don't want just the same old, same old. I was like, money this, money this, money this, money, 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 money.
Yeah.
Like for instance, in my, I just started. I just partnered with a company to put sponsors in my newsletter, and I only put the brands that I know and I use. Versus, yes, I just want anybody sponsoring my content. If it's somebody I know, like, okay, I'll give you an example of a sponsor: Best Buy, uh, Paramount Plus. Uh, like I have an account with Paramount Plus. I go to Best Buy periodically. People know Best Buy, and so I rather partner with those companies and have them sponsor my newsletter versus just random or anything. I even reach out to the same company and say, "Hey, I don't mind having an ad in my newsletter as long as it doesn't look spammy."
Yeah.
So, but I'm doing it to. I'm asking questions whether like where should I put the ad just to make sure that it doesn't look like garbage or anything or get in the user's way. So that's what I do.
Love this conversation, and Jimmy and Rachel, I'm just so humbled and honored that you guys have come on today's show. And yes, I see Sherry has now joined us. Thank you so much, Sherry. Glad that you are here today. We're about ready to close out the call. So I want to go to our final thoughts because I got to get ready for another call in less than 30 minutes. So, Rachel, your final thoughts on today's show.
I really appreciated this. And it was really nice to meet you, Jimmy. Um, I'm curious. I never know who you're going to have on these calls. And it's always been very interesting people, passionate about things. And so I feel grateful. And I don't remember exactly how we met. It was on LinkedIn, but I don't remember.
I think it was because you had was on a podcast or someone else's show.
So, yes, that was it. So that's what I mean. So the third person, right? Going back to what you said, I was on another webinar. You were there. I remember hearing you speak. So that part resonated with me. And
Yep.
just the snippets or summaries thing, I'm really going to focus on that to simplify my job search. Short buzz sentences about who I am, as opposed to this is the job I want. And I think that might help my, help wrap my head around what I'm going to do next. So thank you for that, Chris. And thanks for
Thank
everything you
you,
shared,
Rachel. And like I
Jimmy.
said, I can't wait to collaborate with you moving forward and hear the great things of what we can do together. I'm so humbled and honored by even us connecting. And like I
As am
said, just
I.
can't wait for that to flourish in and of itself. Thank you so much. But Jimmy, this is your second time on the show. And again, thank you so much for showing up and sharing today. We greatly appreciate that. We got to have more kind of look-ins with you moving forward to see how Crazy Fitness Guy is doing. And I'm glad you were able to do that today with us. So again, Jimmy, thank you so much. And what was your final thoughts in today's show too as well?
Well, I definitely agree with you that I would love to come back more because you do have great guests. I can't always. Some, I know I've been kind of, I wouldn't say dormant, but I put on a lot of different guest appearances for myself on hold until after I finish this math course because the workload added up really quick. And I, I'm just grateful to be here today. I enjoyed the conversation. I I love what I do. I love being a guest appearance. Like what I said to people, being on the front end of my brand, sharing of what I do, I love the admin stuff and behind the scenes, the fixing broken crap, getting into contact with so many different companies. It's like give you an example real quick. I was talking to TikTok's customer support to get my shop launched on TikTok, and I was like confused if I was talking to TikTok or I was talking to Comcast customer service because it's like, can you send this? Can you? So the button is not showing up. It's like, no, the button is showing up, but it's not working, and it took like over an hour and 40 minutes just to for somebody to finally get it through. It's like, oh, we're gonna have to escalate this to higher up. I was like, oh, gosh. And it's like, see, this is the stuff I don't like to do. And it's like stuff should just coexist and work. And it's like but so my point is I like being on the front end, being in interviews, being on live streams versus doing all the gritty, nitty back end stuff because like I want to be on the front end of things, and
Yep.
that's why I'm glad I'm getting the table this weekend because like yeah, I got to meet new people versus being on the back end of things. Like I hate the
Yeah.
back.
But
I'm not
Jimmy,
over it.
as always, like I said, I'm just so humbled and honored by every connection that I have, whether it be on LinkedIn or literally in my very own community, because those are precious connections in and of itself. So, Jimmy, like I said, I'm going to say this again. And of course, Rachel, I'm going to say this to you too as well. I can't wait to collaborate and really uh, get back with you and everything like that. And Jimmy, I would love for you to be a part
Yeah.
of what we're building here, bringing humanity together, because this is what Conversations for Humanity is truly all about connecting that will lead into collaboration and that will lead into community. And that's what it's all about and what it's really meant for. So, Jimmy, like I said, thank you so much for sharing today and being on the show. And again, if you'd like to come share your story on Conversations for Humanity, here's the guest scheduling link. Please go to that link, calendly.com, guest at BHT/CFH. We would love to hear your story. And if you want to know more about bringing humanity together and what we're doing with the pillars of bringing humanity together, which is rooted in leadership, human development, health and wellness, family, community, and strengths and values, please send a message to myself straight away. And we would love to hear your thoughts and insights on today's call. Please put a comment in the comment section, not only on YouTube, but also on LinkedIn Live. We would love to hear from you. So again, Rachel and Jimmy, thank you so much, guys, for joining the call today on Conversation for Humanity. Like I said, can't wait to
Absolutely.
collaborate with you guys moving forward. So on this wonderful Wednesday. You guys have a great day. Make it your day. And Rachel, me and you definitely need to talk soon. So send me a
Yeah,
message
we
straight
will.
away.
Will do.
And you guys have an amazing day. Make it your day. And we'll see you on the next Conversation for Humanity. You guys have a great day.
You
See ya.
too.